Psalm 137 and 38 and 39 come from entirely different situations and different time periods, especially between 137 and the next two. But they form a triad that kind of matches what we go through as human beings a lot of times in our relationship with the Lord, not just in the first time of our introduction to that genuine, living, real relationship with God, but in a continuing way. And so this morning's message I titled Longing, Faith, and Revelation, because it's kind of a progression of experience, spiritually speaking. So we pick it up first with Psalm 137. It says, "By the rivers of Babylon there we sat. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hung our harps upon the willows in the midst of it. For there those who carried us away captive asked of us a song, and those who plundered us requested mirth, saying, Sing us one of the songs of Zion. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a foreign land? If I forget you, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its skill. If I do not remember you, let my tongue cling to the roof of my mouth. If I do not exalt Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Lord, against the sons of Edom, the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it to its very foundation. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed, happy the one who repays you as you have served us. Happy the one who takes and dashes your little ones against the rock." Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. Babylon was okay for most of the Jews. The carrying away of Judah to the land of Babylon had been prophesied for about 150, 200 years before it happened, as a warning to the people of Judah and to the people of Israel. Hey, get your act together. Stop playing around with your spiritual lives. Stop entertaining the gods of this world and mixing that philosophy together with true worship of the God Almighty. Stop dabbling in the world. Stop getting involved in this stuff and get real about your faith. That's what God was calling them through the prophets to do. They didn't do it. And they were warned that discipline would happen. And God even warned them and said, hey, don't think I won't rip apart the very temple you built for me and that is holy in my eyes. Don't think that. Don't think you can find sanctuary hiding in there. I will destroy it. And that's exactly what happened when the Babylonians came. And the Babylonians came in 3 waves over a period of, I don't remember off the top of my head, 5, 10 years, something like that. And the first time they came, they took over Jerusalem, but they basically said, okay, we're putting one of your people in charge as a king who will look to us and pay us taxes, and we're going to take some of the choice things out of your temple, and we're going to take some of the best and brightest, smartest people and good-looking people and young people with some, capabilities, and we're taking them back to Babylon with us. Because that's how the Babylonian Empire exercised control over the lands that they conquered. They would go and they would take a number of young, smart people from the land, and they would take them back to Babylon, and they would train them in the Babylonian university, so to speak, about the Babylonian ways. The idea being, then we'll send them back to that land so that we introduce Babylonian culture and thought and idea, and that's how we will exercise control long distance to these countries. And that's why Daniel and his 3 compadres ended up in Babylon. The second time, when Judah was not behaving as they were supposed to in Babylon's eyes, the second time they came, it got a lot tougher. And they did a lot more damage and took a lot more out of the temple. And they took a lot of people captive at that time. Then the third time, there was open rebellion. And that time the Babylonian army came, they surrounded Jerusalem, cut off the water, cut off the food, It got so bad that people were practicing cannibalism. Moms arguing over who's going to eat their baby first. That's how bad it got. And the Babylonians had no mercy. They came in, they killed, they destroyed, they tore down the walls of Jerusalem. They tore down the temple, they destroyed it. And they left nothing. So, in Babylon itself, for the captives who were there from the first and second waves, Babylon actually ended up being not so bad. And God, through Jeremiah, had said, hey, you are going to Babylon. You've crossed the line. You are going. So when you go there, plant vineyards. Get established. In 70 years, I will bring you back. But get established there and live and have children so that there is a generation ready in 70 years to come back. And so Babylon was not so bad for those people. They got involved in business. Babylon, if you look at, it's in modern day Iraq, about, 75 miles, 100 miles south and a little bit east of where Baghdad is. So that's where the ancient city of Babylon is. And if you look at a map of Iraq, you'll find that there are two rivers that parallel one another and come down and empty into the Gulf. It's the Tigris and the Euphrates. And the valley between there was, during this time especially, was very verdant. Verdant? Gosh, that's a really weird word, Pastor. Green. It was green, okay? And it was fruitful, very fruitful. In fact, if you remember your ancient history, the Babylonian hanging gardens, which were created by Nebuchadnezzar, who was the king during the overrunning of Palestine and of Judah. He was the one who created it. It was considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And they have uncovered some of the supporting structures of that and so forth in Iraq and archaeological finds and stuff. It was beautiful. And these rivers were the source of its power to an extent, at least its richness and so forth, because all around it is desert. You know, you see the pictures of outside of that area of those 2 river valleys, and it's a lot of brown, not much green. Not much green. And so here are these ones who are sitting by the rivers in Babylon. Sitting down by the rivers. Now, this isn't speaking about a one-time experience of, hey, last Sunday after church we went down to the river, had a picnic, and these guys came along and asked us to sing. This is speaking about what their life was like there. It said, by the rivers, plural, we sat in Babylon. By the place where, this is where the goodness of Babylon comes. This is where the bounty and provision from Babylon comes. And here we are. And we're okay. We're not in chains. We're not in prison. The Babylonians are letting us continue in business and so forth. And in fact, that's why many of the Jews did not return back to Jerusalem when they were let go 70 years later. Because you know what? Babylon's not such a bad place after all. I think I'll stay here. So here they were sitting by the bounty and provision of Babylon. And they were mourning and weeping. And it says they hung their harps on the willows, or some translations say the poplars, trees. And that, again, is not like, okay, well, we're going to have, a little festival here, and we'll hang our guitars in the trees while we're not playing them. No, it's an expression saying, we're not playing the harp anymore. We're not enjoying music anymore. We don't have a reason for happy festival kind of music. In fact, we're in a state of mourning. If we're going to play anything, it's going to be a dirge. Because they're being asked by those who had taken them captive, by those, the word there that is translated into the English, it says, and those who plundered us. In some translations, it's translated those who tormented us. And they're asking us to sing some happy songs. Sing us the songs of Zion. Now think about that for a minute. If you think about, and it's been almost 1 year since we began the book of Psalms. It is the longest book in the Bible. And we took some detours along the way. But as we have gone through this study in the book of Psalms, there are many songs of Zion, praising what God established in Jerusalem. They're going, hey, sing us some of those songs about how great and powerful is Zion and how God will protect Zion and Jerusalem. Well, you know, someone who had seen the destruction of everything they knew in their culture and their religion and their worship of God, totally destroyed and them taken captive to a foreign land, they wouldn't be in the mood for singing about it. It would be, you know, like a joke to them. It would be heartrending to sing about the strength of Jerusalem. But there's something more involved. There's something more involved. You know, the Jews were separated from a vibrant relationship with God by their own actions. They were separated from a vibrant relationship with God by their own actions. And that's why they were sitting in a foreign land. And actually, though maybe not Babylon in particular, for 100 or 200 years before they were taken captive, they were longing to be like Babylon. They were longing to be like the Phoenicians or the Assyrians and enjoy their gods and worship their gods and bring their gods' idols into the temple and start worshiping like other people do instead of the way God had called them to. And so in a sense, what God did in uprooting them and putting them in Babylon, He gave them exactly what they'd been asking for. He gave them exactly what they had been longing for, what they had been reaching for. And now here, sitting by the bounty of Babylon, they're realizing what they've lost. They're realizing what they don't have. Here they are sitting next to the very source of Babylon's provision and what it can give to them. And what are they doing? They're weeping. They're longing for Jerusalem. They're longing for that which they took for granted and belittled for so long. You know, there are many who spend their time apart from a living, vibrant relationship with the Lord, trying to be satisfied with the provisions of what this world has to offer. And it's by their own actions and will, Christian and non-Christian, that they end up in Babylon. God says, that's what you really want? That's what you keep going for? Okay, I will give it to you. I will turn you over to that so that you might see the emptiness of it. And anyone who's tasted that goodness and blessing of a living relationship with the Lord will long for it again. I got saved in 1975. I would say at least 1/3 of you in here weren't alive then. Few of you were little kids. Yes, I'm really that old. And in that time, I have spent time walking my own way and finding a place that I thought would give me satisfaction. But it was not getting my satisfaction from the Lord. It was getting it from something else. Maybe not even something evil or sinful. I wasn't in some horrendous sin. Well, yeah, I was at some points. But at other points, it was just me getting my satisfaction out of something other than the Lord God Almighty. I chose it. And there's a time that comes sitting next to the bounty of that, going, you know what? This really doesn't satisfy after all. Everybody says it does. It looks like it should. I've wanted this so much, and now here I have it. I'm not happy. It's not really what I want. It's not really filling that empty void within my heart.